I'm going to show you in this video how you can book so many appointments that you quite frankly cannot deal with them all and question the reason why you're doing outreach in the first place. My name is Josh Duke. Right now I'm booking over 100 appointments every single month without having to do any of the outreach myself. And in this video I'm going to show you exactly how you can do the same thing. And there's 5 simple steps that if you follow, I guarantee you that by the end of this video, you will be able to know how to build a system that's able to do the same thing for you, okay? So the very first step, right, and I'm going to walk through the 5 later, okay? So these are all important and you need to follow these step by step in order to achieve the same result as me, okay? The number one thing is something that most people look over, and they always are trying to find the shiny new system, but the reality is that most people don't have a really freaking good offer that everyone they talk to is like, wow, this is amazing, I need this thing, right? And the best way to kind of explain what you need to have here to start off, right, in order to actually get appointments, you need to have something that people really want, right? And what most people try and do is they go on YouTube, they see what's the hottest offer, right? Is it these build and release offers? Is it offering Facebook ads? Is it offering AI, right? And in reality, what you need to do is you need to pick a person that you want to sell to, someone that you actually want to work with, and then ask them, what do they want, right? And there's this saying that I learned from Sam Ovens, right? And he basically was talking about how you can come up with, if you're sitting across the street, right, and there's a girl named Susie on the bench on the other side of the street, you and your friends might be all thinking, I wonder what Susie wants for lunch, right? I wonder what she wants to go eat. And you can come up with all these crazy ideas and this crazy analysis as to what she wants to eat for lunch. But the only way to really know is to go ahead and ask her. So what you need to do before anything else is you need to ask your market, what do they actually want, right? Because I can give you the best systems, the best scripts, the best automation to book appointments, but if the person who you're selling to doesn't actually want what you have, none of it's going to work, okay? So this is the very first thing that you have to have in place, and you have to actually be able to give people exactly what they want. And being able to book appointments when you have something like that is going to be 20 times easier, okay? And I'm saying this from experience, offering things that people didn't want in the past, okay? Number 2 is, what outreach method should you actually use? What is the outreach method that you're actually going to build a system on? And the answer to that is, again, it all comes back to the customer, as cliche as that sounds, right? You need to figure out, where does your market hang out online? Like, for example, if you're working with med spas, a lot of those people are on Facebook groups, right? If you're looking for recruiting companies, a lot of those people are going to be on LinkedIn and on email, right? If you're looking for things like let's say landscapers, right? The best way to reach out to those people a lot of the time is going to be through cold calling, right? So you have to figure out where exactly is your target audience, where do they hang out the most, and then you're going to reach out on there. So for me, for example, I obviously target agency owners, and a lot of those people are on Instagram. So what have I done? I built my automation system, right? I have multiple, but the main one, right, is through Instagram, right? So that's basically where you need to find your people, is you need to figure out where they're actually at, and then you're going to go and target them there, okay? And that's basically how you need to do things, okay? The next thing is basically building in the micro before scaling in the macro. So a lot of the times what I see is people will watch some kind of a YouTube video like how to run these cold email campaigns, and they're going to instantly flick the switch and then start doing like 1,000 emails a day. And the issue with that, right, is you're scaling before you have a proof of concept, right? And what tends to happen, right, with outreach and advertising in general is if you test something in a smaller sample size, the likelihood that that effect, right, and the appointment booking rate is going to extrapolate onto the rest of the market is very likely. So if you have one offer that it works, like there's 100 people in your niche who you test and most of them really like this offer, it's very likely that most of the entire niche, right, the whole niche, is also going to like that. So what you want to do before scaling, wasting a bunch of money, wasting a bunch of time, right, is actually test something with a smaller sample size. So maybe you're doing like 50 to 100 emails a day, right? Even though you might get less appointments in the short term, it's going to be very easy for you to iterate and test so that you can keep trying different things until you actually master your cold outreach script, so that you can, once it works, increase the volume on it. And this is the same thing that you should be doing with ads for your clients, for example, is when you're running a campaign in a small, like you're probably starting with a small ad budget, you want to test a whole bunch of different things, figure out which one works. Once you find the one that works, then you just dump all of your money into the one that works, and you're going to generate a huge return on ad spend, right? And the same thing applies to different outreach methods, right? So that's basically what you need to do, is actually test something in the small area, right? Test something in the micro, and then once it actually works, once you test it, and I'm going to show you how to actually make it better, then you're going to increase the volume on it, automate it, and then put it into the macro, right? So the next thing is basically testing by iteration. Okay, so in order to, right, you want to test in the micro, right, like I was saying before, but in order to actually get something that works extremely well, the way that you do that is simply by iteration, right? And there's no other way to kind of skip around it, right? There's different tactics that you can use to make your outreach better. There's different things that you can do to improve your script, but you're never going to get it bang on the first try, right? Or it's very unlikely, at least. So essentially, what you need to do here, right, is take a test, right? You start with the version 1, and then you're going to send that to about 200 people, and you're going to see how many people actually booked from those 200 people, how many positive replies did you get. If you got a bunch of positive replies, right, but no one booked, you probably need more sample size, so send it to 1,000 people. If no one positively replied at all, then you're going to want to test and tweak it slightly, and then test it in another sample size, right? Let's say after testing it to 1,000 people, you got a bunch of positive replies, but no one actually booked, right? Because you didn't know how to transition that. So what you're going to do is you're going to keep the first initial message, but you're going to change the script that you have for when people positively reply, so that you can actually transition those positive replies into real appointments. And you're going to keep testing things until you get an appointment booking rate, which means like message sent, or appointments booked divided by message sent. You need that to be at least around 1 to 3% in my previous experience. You can do it with slightly less if you have a really good way to increase the volume. But if not, then especially when you're in a smaller market, you're going to need a lot higher of an appointment booking rate so you don't burn through the entire market very quickly, right? So for me, for example, my Instagram system has an appointment booking rate of about 0.8%, which is even less than 1%, right? But I'm able to send 500 Instagram messages every single day, which means just from that one system, right, I'm able to book 4 appointments a day on autopilot, right? So that's basically how that works, okay? So once you actually have that established appointment booking rate, right, around that 1 to 3% mark, again, a lot more is great, right? But a little bit less can be okay depending on the size of your market. Then what you want to do is you want to figure out how to increase the shit out of that volume that you're doing right now without dropping conversion rates and without basically massively increasing the money that you're spending, right? So you want to find the point of most efficiency where you can put the least amount of dollars in to get the most return out, right? So for me, for example, what I've actually been able to do is with the entire automation system that I'm running, the whole thing, including the VA, only costs me $600 a month, and I get 100 appointments, it costs $800 a month, and I get over 100 appointments a month just from that one system, right? And what that means is my cost per appointment is like $10, right? So if you can get a appointment booking system that's giving you $10 an appointment, you obviously want to be able to scale the crap out of that. Now, if I were able to get a $30 per appointment, that would still be really good, right? But you want to look for the most efficient way to get appointments, right? And obviously these appointments have to remain quality, right? If you're paying $10 for like someone who will never buy, then it doesn't really matter, right? So you need to maintain quality. You want to have the prices as low as humanly possible. The best way to do that is typically by leveraging software and or VAs. Sometimes you can't. So for example, cold calling, you can't really effectively do that with cold calling with VAs and or software. I've seen people try. Some people might have made it work, but again, these VAs typically are really shit at cold calling because it's more of a skill-based thing. So then they have to work for like 20 hours to book one appointment, and then it does get a little bit expensive, right? So the best way, but again, you can test and you can iterate and you can make that better as time goes on, right? So essentially, that's kind of the framework that I use to think about systems. This is how I built that Instagram system that I was talking about, booking me 4 appointments a day. It's how I built my email system, right? That's booking appointments at around 2%. Same with LinkedIn, same with all these different things, right? Which I've done for a whole bunch of different niches in the market, because obviously that's what I do. If you want to be a part of that, and if you want to skip the whole iteration process and just snap your fingers and get something that works, you can click the first link in the description. If not, no worries. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.